no one's promised tomorrow. And I want to be able to live as many days as happy as I can. So there is that rush of being able to show up for yourself day in and day out. But there's also the ability for you to slow down and be really present and really proud of what you've already created and what you already do every day.
Welcome to Mama Has Goals, your weekly reminder that you shouldn't have to sacrifice your dreams to take on the role of mom. I'm Kelsey Smith, mom of 2 boys, wife, and entrepreneur who's passionate about helping other moms, current and aspiring, to reimagine mom life. I'm bringing you the resources, support, and relatability to debunk that limiting belief that you may have about your ability to achieve your goals while raising a human. We're covering everything from mom guilt, marriage, relationships, careers, finances, mental health, physical health, you name it. Your life doesn't have to fully shift once you become a mom. You can have it all, and we'll show you how.
Last year at this time, my family was wrapping up a 5-month Airbnb living, which was totally new to us and really kind of surprising that it even fell into place. And the episode I want to share with you today is actually a replay from an Instagram live that I did the day we were headed back to Arizona from our home in Napa. And we were going to be there for 1 more month before we came home. And I was really reflecting on the last year and where I was going into 2023, where we're at now. And this theme of really deciding our own timelines was so prevalent. And as I was listening back to this, I really wanted to share it with you again, because I think it's a reminder that we all need. Sometimes we tell ourselves this narrative that we need to speed up, we need to get more done, we need to accomplish these goals, and we actually don't. Sometimes we need to slow down. Sometimes we need to hit the brakes. Sometimes we need to allow ourselves to see success in a different lens or in a different way. So I want you to just take a moment and take this in today for wherever you're at this year. Reflect on the last year, maybe even the year before. Think about some of the things you've accomplished, the ways that you've sped up and created more success than you maybe thought was possible during a period of time. And success is defined by you. Remember that. And maybe also think about the areas where you need to slow down. And especially as we finish out the year, where do you need to push pause? Where do you need to be a little more present? So leaving you with this, Mama. I'll see you next week.
We are gearing up to get in the car and head back from Napa to Arizona. And as I was packing things up this morning, it had me think about slowing down versus rushing. What's the rush? You get ready, you go for something, and you're rushing to the finish line. And it just had me think about that, because there are moments where it makes sense to rush. There are moments where you want to be working towards a certain timeline or a deadline or anything like that. And then there's other scenarios and other times where you're truly creating this timeline in your head. And does it really matter? As I was thinking about this today, there were a couple things that I feel like I take into consideration when I decide, should I be slowing down and what's the rush? And the first thing that came up for me was deciding priorities. Sometimes you want to be on time somewhere or be earlier, create a timeline because you have specific priorities that fall within that timeline. So that is one of the things that I take into consideration. What are the priorities of whatever I'm working towards, whether it's creating a goal, setting up Christmas decorations, getting ready for the day, any of those things. What is our priority and what is the goal? So I think about that when I think about, okay, do I need to slow down and what's the rush? So for example, we're getting in the car today, right? And we don't want to hit LA traffic. That's a goal, to not sit in LA traffic. And what is our priority? Now, on top of that priority, for me, the priority is to not feel rushed in the morning, to be able to take our time packing up, be able to have a slow morning. I was able to meet a friend for a little bit this morning. That to me is a bigger goal and a bigger priority over the others. So that's how I can play that in my head. Now, if I'm working towards a goal, whether I accomplish that goal today or I accomplish that goal a year from now, then it's up to me to decide, okay, what is the priority and what is the goal? Should I slow down or should I speed up? What makes the most sense? What happens if I take this slow and what happens if I take this faster? So think about that for yourself in the sense of two different things. You have a decision over the next 30 days before this year ends, a little over 30 days, actually, a little over 30 days to decide how do you want to end this year? And when you think about, should you slow down? What's the rush? You don't need to create this false narrative for the end of the year that you have to accomplish something by the end of the year. And if you don't, 2022 was a bust, right? But you can create urgency in your goals and you can allow yourself to re-identify your priorities and your goals and what does it mean to push yourself maybe a little bit? What does it mean to go fast? What does it mean to rush yourself in certain ways? And what does it mean if you slow down in others? Because I believe that the solution is probably somewhere in the middle. You probably need to slow down and be more present in certain scenarios, in certain situations. And you probably aren't pushing yourself in one area that you could be. You're probably not being honest enough with yourself with certain commitment or pushing your ability to stretch kind of your mindset around what's possible for you. So as you go into the rest of this week, go into December, go into the end of the year, think about, is there anywhere that you should slow down? Is there anywhere that you should take a step back and say, you know what, I actually really need to be more present here, or I need to do less things better, right? Do one thing and do it well, do less things and do them as well as possible. Slow down. Maybe you can outsource a couple things. Maybe you just don't have to do things. Maybe you just don't have to do the holidays the same way. No one's promised tomorrow. And I want to be able to live as many days as happy as I can. So there is that rush of being able to show up for yourself day in and day out. But there's also the ability for you to slow down and be really present and really proud of what you've already created and what you already do every day. And what I want you to make sure that you take away from this conversation today is it's up to you to decide when you should slow down and when you should rush. You don't have to create a timeline off of society or anyone else's standards, not even your work. You can decide what your timeline is, but be honest with yourself on what your timeline is. Be honest where you should show up a little bit faster, where you should make a bigger commitment, and then allow yourself to find times where you can slow down and you can force yourself to slow down as well. Okay? I love you so much. Have a great, great week.
There's so much more where this came from. Take the next step and download the Mama Has Goals app or visit our web platform. Real, authentic, full, supportive community is available at your fingertips, and we can't wait to create space for you, Mama.